G'day guys, my name is CJ. These speakers are some of the best looking and best sounding budget Bluetooth speakers I've ever come across. Interested? Let's take a look. So these are the Edifier R1700BTS Bluetooth bookshelf speakers, and it's been a while since I've come across a speaker setup as surprising as these. Now, Edifier are no strangers to making speakers that nail value for money, and they've done a really great job here as well. So as far as bookshelf speakers go, they're probably on the slightly more compact side of things, but they're not small by any means. Now certainly they're smaller than my Yamaha YS5s here, but they're bigger than a set of Audio Engine A2s, and straight out of the box, I'm really appreciating the build quality. This set of speakers has a price of just 229 Aussie, but you'll definitely be able to find these in slightly less, and in fact, on average, I could easily find them for about $180 a pop. And when it comes to speakers in this price range, they're often lightweight, plasticky boxes that can't pack a punch, or often sacrifice quality for things like Bluetooth connectivity or portability. And here, whilst you don't get portability or USB-C connectivity, given that phones don't have headphone jacks anymore, but you still get great build quality with Bluetooth 5.0 and support for aptX HD, if your device supports it. And we'll get into sound quality in a second, but I just like to stick with appreciating the design. So I've been sent the wood grain version, and I think it looks really classy. It might not be to some people's taste, given it looks like a set of vintage speakers, but I love them. You can also choose to have the speaker covers on or off, and if there's a small criticism about the design, it's these pretty prominent pins used to hold the covers in place. I'm a huge fan of the exposed look with all the speakers, so I keep them off, but those pins do stand out quite a lot. And what also stands out is that little infrared window on the front of the right speaker, and that really stands out like a sore thumb. And on top of that, inside this window, you've got these status LEDs that remain on at all times, regardless of what mode it's in. So if you're gonna have these speakers in your bedroom, you'll probably want to leave the cover on so the LED doesn't blind you at night and keep you up. But in any case, the speakers themselves are really solid thanks to the MDF wood they used. It's really quite heavy and it won't rattle or buzz even at higher volumes. And on the side of the right speaker, you've got 3 analog dials that can be used to quickly adjust levels for treble, bass, and volume, and they feel really nice and solid, not at all nasty or cheap. The volume knob also doubles up as a power and mode switching button, whereas the treble and bass knobs only have one function only, and they only have hard stops, so they can only be adjusted manually. Which is a contrast to the volume button, which perpetually spins, and that makes sense given that it has Bluetooth connectivity and it also doubles up as a button as well. Now the speakers also come with a remote, which also can do volume adjustment. So again, it makes sense that the volume knob doesn't have hard stops. But out of the box, the speakers come with everything you need to get started. You have RCA to RCA cables to connect the speakers to something like an amp. You've got an RCA to 3.5mm jack for aux in, and also the speaker cables that will connect the two in a stereo pair. Now on the back of the right speaker, you've got a 3.5mm jack for a separate subwoofer if you need maximum bass. And then on top of that, you've got the remote, which comes in a gloss black design. And I'm not a huge fan of that because it's going to pick up fingerprints like a mother. The remote is pretty basic and it at least provides an easy way to adjust the source, and that's pretty much it. It works well enough, but in the end, the remote still feels pretty cheap. Plus, there's this little quirky button which I think has got something to do with surround sound or spatial sound. And I think it's mainly meant to be used to make your TV shows and movies more immersive, but it just made things sound weird, so I just never turned it on. But the great thing about the R1700BTS is that you don't need to use this remote because you can set up the speakers to be used with any different infrared remote required. And so in my case, I've got it set up to be used with my Apple TV remote so that I only need to use one remote to control all I need, content and volume. So long as you don't need to change the source or to Bluetooth. Now the Bluetooth function has been pretty reliable so far, and I haven't noticed any major issues with audio delay either. Though admittedly, I haven't been doing a whole lot of movie or TV watching via Bluetooth. For these purposes, I always recommend connecting the speakers to the source physically. If anything, just for the highest quality audio you can get. And speaking of audio quality, the speakers each contain a 19mm silk dome tweeter for the vibrant highs, combined with a 4-inch woofer for those mids and lows. And they both receive 15 and 18 watts respectively. And so when you combine that with the DSP, sound quality output is pretty great for its price. It gets pretty loud, and for reasonable listening levels, it never showed any signs of distortion, and the sound is pretty great and approachable. Like I said, for a roughly $200 set of speakers, I think it does a great job with detail, separating the highs and mids, and I feel it gives off a nice, warm, pleasant sound for most purposes, from watching movies to listening to music. It's a really great all-rounder, which I imagine what Edifier is trying to achieve given its price. So whether it's watching heavy-hitting action movies, staying up to watch the F1, or pumping out 2000s punk rock to get psyched for the day, for me it hasn't skipped a beat and it sounds great. Now if there's one noticeable thing that may annoy some but delight others, is that the bass hits hard for a set of speakers this size. Now it's not going to shake the room like a dedicated subwoofer will, like in a blockbuster movie, but occasionally feels like it dominates the soundstage with normal general listening. But honestly, I'd hazard for the everyday punter, this is going to be a good thing. Audiophiles will cringe at this detail, but for casual listeners, it's not going to be an issue in my opinion. There's a reason why a lot of standard everyday headphones and speakers tend to err on the side of heavier bass. But overall, I've really enjoyed using and listening to these speakers. Now, if you have around $200 to spend on a set of dedicated speakers with a really great set of features and are of excellent build quality, then you could do worse than to consider these R1700BTS. It absolutely punches well above its weight, and Edifier have done an amazing job with this pair of speakers. You can go down a massive rabbit hole when you research speakers and audio quality, and if you're doing this but only have a limited budget, just stop right there and check these guys out. I don't think you'll regret it. I'll leave a link in the description below. Anyway, what do you guys think of these speakers? Do you think they're good value? Let me know why or why not in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed what you saw, give us a like, subscribe for more, and ding the bell icon so you don't miss out. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.